A very good morning, guys. As you know, this channel is dedicatedly for the interview questions of different domains. So, without wasting time, let's start. Question number one, because these are the certain questions which are really asked by the interviewers for me. I mean, such questions are faced in real life by me in my career. So, question number one is starts with what is threat and vulnerability. A vulnerability is the weakness in the system. For example, any house without doors or windows increases the gap or weakness is our vulnerabilities. So vulnerabilities, let's say for example, in any organization, there are certain risks. Uh, right, there are certain gaps. So such gaps or weakness in any system is called the vulnerabilities. For example, if any house is in construction phases and doors or windows are not implemented yet, so this lack of windows or doors is acting as an vulnerabilities weakness here. Now, what is a threat? Threat is the chances of exploit of the vulnerabilities. How much chances of exploit the vulnerabilities? Because in above example, doors and windows are not there, that means there is an high chances of exploit the vulnerabilities. That means some outsiders may have very high chances to enter in the in the house. Next question is what is risk appetite and risk tolerance? Risk appetite is the level of risk accepted by an organization to achieve the objectives. Generally, low and minor risk are acceptable, which are having low impact. Means risk appetite is the see, any organization must have certain goals or objectives, right? So to achieve those goals, uh, organization have to modify the changes or implement the new changes. So during implementation of the changes, there must be an acceptable risk somewhere, um, by which the particular, I mean to say, the controls are available but they are not going to implement because there are cascading effect after implementing such controls. So such minor or low risk must be accepted by the organization. These risks are called the risk appetite. That means risk appetite are very minor risk. Let's say the low and minor risk accepted by the organization to achieve the objectives. This is our risk appetite. Now, what is the risk tolerance? Risk tolerance means deviation of risk which are acceptable by any organization. Let's say with an example, we have a mutual fund portfolio in which we are investing rupees 1000 monthly, and later on I have realized that I have to invest more 500 rupees to increase my portfolio more better. So here the increased amount is rupees 500 under tolerable risk. That means the increased amount later on which I have increased by rupees 500 comes under the tolerable amount, because we have potential to accept the further risk by 500. That means risk tolerable is the risk risk tolerance is the additional risk which we had measured later on is our tolerable risk, right? I- in this above example, rupees 500 comes under the tolerance risk. Next question is what is risk capacity and risk threshold? Because many students or many associates must have confused between the risk capacity, risk threshold, risk tolerance, risk appetite. That's why this is the best, this is the best platform so that we can learn the new things and clear each and everything here. Next is what is risk capacity and risk threshold. Let's try to understand with the previous example. 1000 is my initial investment and further I had increased by rupees 500 per month in my mutual fund portfolio. So risk capacity is the total risk. Total is 1500. So total risk is 1500, right, rupees. So risk capacity is how much total capacity is in which we are going to take the risk. That is rupees 1500. So risk capacity is the total risk volume in an overall budgets. Now, next is risk threshold. Risk threshold is the upper cutoff limit, means the particular point from where the organization started loss of revenue due to risk. That particular point is called threshold point. Here, in others word, we can say that a risk threshold is the maximum point from where any organization or any institute start losses, because there are certain point from which they started the loss of revenue or loss of reputation. That particular point, that particular moment is called the risk threshold point. Last question is, what roles are assigned to CISO and CRO who have more responsibilities? So first, let us know that what is CISO. CISO is the Chief Information Security Officer and CRO is the Chief Risk Officer. And now, what are the responsibilities assigned to CISO? So this is the highest position in any organization in a security domain. I am talking about the CISO, and responsible to manage all the security related things in an organization. However, Chief Risk Officer is the uh, Chief Risk Officer, which includes the risk of complete organization, that is enterprise risk. It also consists of the revenue risk, infra risk, reputation risk, etc. That means um, at any corner of the organization, if there is a small risk exist under the organization, that particular risk comes under the chief risk of officer, and the risk owner must inform to the CRO. That means overall CRO position having more responsibilities than CISO. This questions was asked few days earlier by an interviewer from me. Okay, so these are the certain interviews questions on the risk management. Guys, how's you like my videos? If any modification or any suggestions, if you are having, kindly let me know in the chat box. Thank you so much.